Imagine this. You're about to walk into the most important meeting of your life. Your heart is pounding, your palms are sweaty, and you're trying to look calm even though your brain is screaming, "Don't mess this up." Now picture this. You open your closet, you look at your suit, you look at your tie, and then you look at one specific item like it's a sacred weapon, a pair of green polka dot boxer shorts, and you think, "Yep, these are the ones." Not because they're comfortable, not because they match your outfit, but because the last 3 times you wore them, you won. You nailed the presentation. You got the applause. You walked out feeling like a champion. So now, in your mind, those boxer shorts aren't underwear anymore. They're a lucky charm. They're a ritual. They're protection. And you know what? That sounds ridiculous until you realize every human being does this every single day. And it's not harmless because this exact mental shortcut, this invisible wiring inside your brain, can destroy your judgment, ruin your decisions, and make you afraid of the wrong things for the rest of your life. Welcome to one of the most dangerous mental traps you'll ever encounter, association bias. And today I'm going to show you exactly how it works, with real-life examples, so you can spot it, break it, and stop letting your past experiences sabotage your future. Let's begin. Now, association bias sounds like a complicated psychological term, but it's actually simple. Your brain is a connection machine. It's built to link 2 things together, even when they have absolutely nothing to do with each other. And the reason is survival. Because thousands of years ago, if you ate a strange fruit, and then you got sick, your brain didn't say, let's run a clinical trial. No, your brain said, fruit equals danger. Never again. That's smart. That's useful. That's how learning works. But here's the problem. Your brain doesn't stop there. It keeps connecting things, even when the connection is fake, even when it's coincidence, even when it's completely irrational. And once your brain creates that connection, it feels real. It feels true. It feels like wisdom. But it's not wisdom. It's a trap. Let me prove it. Example number 1. Kevin. Kevin has presented his division's results to the company's board 3 times. 3 times it went perfectly. The board loved him. The numbers were strong. His confidence was sharp. Everything clicked. And each time, he wore the same green polka dot boxer shorts. So now Kevin believes, these are my lucky underpants. Now, logically, Kevin knows the underpants had nothing to do with the presentation. But emotionally, his brain doesn't care. His brain recorded a pattern. Underpants equals success. And the next time Kevin has a big meeting, he's not thinking about strategy. He's not thinking about preparation. He's thinking, where are my lucky shorts? That's association bias. And it's funny until you realize what happens when Kevin can't find them. Now his confidence drops. Now he feels exposed. Now he walks into the meeting mentally weaker. Not because the situation changed, but because his brain attached power to something meaningless. And that's how people become prisoners of rituals, not because rituals are powerful, but because belief is powerful. Let's go deeper. Example number 2. Kevin walks into a jewelry store. And there's a girl working there. She's stunning, like the kind of beautiful that makes you forget your own name. And she shows him an engagement ring, a $10,000 ring. Now Kevin had a budget, and this ring is way above it, especially for a second marriage. But he buys it anyway. Why? Because he associated the ring with her. In his mind, the ring became linked to beauty, to charm, to excitement, to the fantasy of a perfect future. He wasn't buying the ring, he was buying the feeling. And that's what association bias does. It makes you confuse the object with the emotion it triggered. Let me give you a modern version of this. Have you ever walked into a luxury store and suddenly felt richer? Not because your bank account changed, but because the lighting was perfect, the scent was expensive, the staff spoke softly, and the environment made you feel like a VIP. That's not accidental, that's psychological engineering. They're creating associations. Luxury store equals high status. High status equals you deserve this. You deserve this equals buy it. This is why people overspend on brands, even when the quality difference is small. Because the brand isn't selling fabric, it's selling identity. It's selling a feeling. And your brain is easy to hypnotize through association. Now let's move to the most dangerous example, the one that turns normal people into anxious prisoners. Kevin goes to the doctor every year for a checkup. Most of the time, the doctor says, "You're fine, you're healthy." But twice Kevin left the clinic with worrying news. Once it was his appendix. It got removed. The other time it was a swollen prostate. He thought it was cancer, but it was just inflammation. Both times, Kevin was terrified. Both times, it was extremely hot outside. And now Kevin feels uncomfortable on very warm days. And here's the insane part. Kevin's brain made a connection. Hot weather equals danger. Heat equals fear. Warm day equals something bad is about to happen. So if the temperature rises near his next checkup, he cancels it, even though the heat had nothing to do with his health issues, even though the heat was just coincidence. But his body remembers, his nervous system remembers, and he avoids the wrong thing. He avoids the weather instead of facing the real problem. That's association bias. And this is how people develop irrational fears, not from logic, but from emotional memory. Now listen closely, because this next part explains why association bias is so powerful. Your brain doesn't learn through facts, it learns through emotion. If something happens, and you feel strong emotion, fear, shame, excitement, relief, your brain stamps it like a permanent record. And later, anything that resembles that moment triggers the same emotion, even if it's not connected. This is why a smell can bring back childhood memories. This is why a song can break your heart years later. This is why a certain street can make you anxious, even if nothing is happening there now, because your brain is not a scientist, it's a storyteller. It connects dots, then it creates meaning. And once meaning exists, it becomes reality inside you. Now let's talk about Pavlov. Russian scientist Ivan Pavlov, he was studying salivation in dogs. He used a bell to call the dogs to eat. At first, the dogs salivated only when food arrived, but after some time, just the sound of the bell made the dogs salivate. No food needed, because their brains linked two unrelated things. Bell equals food, food equals saliva. So bell equals saliva. That's conditioning. And humans? Humans are the same. We just dress it up with fancy words and pretend we're rational. But we're not. Let me show you where this is used against you every single day. Advertising. Advertising is basically association bias as a business model. You will never see Coke next to a depressed face. You will never see Coke next to a lonely person eating in silence. You will never see Coke next to a stressed out, overweight man sitting in traffic. No, Coke people are always young, always beautiful, always laughing, always surrounded by friends, always living in some fantasy world where every sip is happiness. Because the goal is to create this connection. Coke equals joy. Coke equals social success. Coke equals youth. Coke equals fun. And after enough repetition, your brain believes it, even if your real-life experience with Coke is sugar crash and regret. Now let's bring this to something even more brutal. Shoot the messenger syndrome. This is association bias in leadership. Imagine you work in a company. The business is struggling. Sales are dropping. Customer complaints are rising. And an employee comes to the CEO and says, "Sir, we have a problem." Now, logically, that employee is doing the right thing. They're helping. They're protecting the company. But emotionally, the CEO's brain does something childish. The CEO feels stress. The CEO feels fear. The CEO feels discomfort. And the brain connects it. This employee equals bad news. Bad news equals pain. Therefore, employee equals pain. So what happens? The CEO starts avoiding that person. Not consciously, not intentionally, but subtly. They stop inviting them to meetings. They stop asking them questions. They stop listening. And soon, only positive people remain around the CEO. Only yes men. Only comfort. Only fake optimism. And the company slowly collapses. Because reality was blocked. This is why so many businesses fail from the top. Not because the CEO is stupid, but because association bias filters information. It punishes truth, it rewards comfort. And if you lead people,
Thanks for spending time with us. If this sparked a new way of thinking, hit like and subscribe to keep the ideas flowing. And don't forget, check the description for the links to the original books and resources we used today. We'll see you in the next one.